So hello everyone, welcome back to your second section. And now we move to the practice everyone. Before we moving that, so teacher would like to ask you the question that what did you study in the first section everyone? You have learned about science, fiction, you know, fiction or fact, right? And now we move to our lesson chapter 2, General Interest Unit 9, Making Paper by Hand on page 38, 40, 41, and 42. Okay. So, what did you have, or what did you learn, about the history of making paper? Where is it first, everyone? And how did it make? You know, in the past, like 1,000 years ago, people used, you know, papyrus to make the papers. But later on, Chinese, the modern one, they use pulp, they use bark, to make the paper, right? Okay, so to continue our lesson, teacher would like you to move on the practice here. Okay, so uh, the practice you will work on page 40, everyone. So you have to listen to the report again and answer these three questions. The first question, like how long does the report say that modern paper making started? 2,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, in the 16th century, they seen the invention of machines. And number two, what does the report recommend for making your own paper? Loose tree bark, or envelopes, small pieces of a box, large stripes of clothes. And number three, what happened to the pulp when it is in the mold? Letter A, like it boils. Letter B, it is cut into many small pieces. Letter C, it becomes smooth. Number letter D, and it dry out. Okay. So now, take your time, everyone, to listen carefully. Let's go.
Unit 9. Making paper by hand.
How to do it. Making paper by hand. This is the VOA Special English Development Report. The earliest process of making paper was done almost 5,000 years ago in Egypt and the Nile Valley. In those days, paper was made from strips of the papyrus plant. Modern paper making began in China about 2,000 years ago. This process produced paper from cloth, straw, wood, or the bark of trees. The raw materials are struck over and over until they become loose. Then they are mixed with water. After the water has been removed, the flat, thin form remaining is permitted to dry. This becomes a sheet of paper. Large machines started to be used for making paper near the end of the 16th century. Today, paper making is a big business. But it is still possible to make paper by hand, since the steps are the same as using big machines. You should choose paper with small amounts of printing. Old envelopes are good for this reason. Colored paper also can be used, as well as small amounts of newspaper. Small pieces of rags or cloth can be added. These should be cut into pieces about 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. Everything is placed in a container, covered with water, and brought to a boil. It is mixed for about 2 hours with some common chemicals and then allowed to cool. Then it is left until most of the water dries up. The substance left, called pulp, can be stored until you are ready to make paper. When you are ready, the pulp is mixed with water again. Then the pulp is poured into a special box or mold. The mold is made of small squares of wire that hold the shape and thickness of the paper. To help dry the paper, the mold lets the water flow through the small wire squares. After several more drying steps, the paper is carefully lifted back from the mold. It is now strong enough to be touched. The paper is smoothed and pressed to remove trapped air. You can use a common electric iron used for pressing clothes. There are many other technologies for people making paper using small machines. You can order more information about making paper from Enterprise Works/VITA. The address of the group's website is enterpriseworks.org. And that's the VOA Special English Development Report. Transcripts, MP3s, and podcasts of our reports are at voaspecialenglish.com.
Okay, everyone. So after you hear from this listening, so can you answer the question that how long ago does the report say the modern paper making started? Okay, so the right answer is, let's just give you two options, A and B. Okay, 2,000 years ago and 5,000 years ago. So the correct answer is letter B. So the report they have mentioned, letter A, sorry. The report they have mentioned about the 2,000 years ago about the modern, paper making in China, right? And the question number 2, what does the report recommend for making your own paper? So the answer of this question is letter B, O envelopes, right? And the last one, what happened to the pulp when it is in the mold? The answer is it dry out. Okay, again everyone. So the answer number 1 A, answer number 2 B, and answer number 3 D. So now we move to another practice. Focus on the sound, listen to the sentence twice and fill in the blanks. So we have like number 1, like modern paper making began in China about 2 years ago. In paper was made from strips of the papyrus plant. Number 3, old envelopes are good for this. Okay, and number 4, the mold is made of small. Okay, so in this practice we focus on the sound letter S and letter Z, and the S here are Z sound, so like lose, like use, and business. Okay, we sound like this. Even it finished by letter S, we can say like loss or use. Okay, it sound letter Z like that. So sometimes the letter S is pronounced like Z. Okay, the shape of the mouth is the same for both sound, but to make the Z sound, you have to or close your mouth so that your top teeth and bottom teeth touch the back of your bottom teeth with the tip with your tongue, like while forcing air out of your mouth through the space between your top front teeth and your bottom front teeth. So you see, say like S, like S, and letter S sound like letter Z, like Z. Okay, so listen carefully everyone and complete the gap. Okay, so please start.
Number 1. Modern paper making began in China about 2,000 years ago. Modern paper making began in China about 2,000 years ago.
So modern paper
Number
making.
2. In those days, paper was made from strips of the papyrus plant. In those days, paper was made from strips of the papyrus plant. Number 3. Old envelopes are good for this reason. Old envelopes are good for this reason. Number 4. The mold is made of small squares of wire. The mold is made of small squares of wire.
Okay, let's check the answer everyone. For the first one, like modern paper making began in China about 2000 years ago. So when you see like 2000, when you separate it into different syllables, you will see like sand, sand. When you see sand, S-A-N-D, you read sand, right? And letter S, it sound letter S, not sound letter Z. But when you read the combine like two syllables together, the word thousand, it did not sound sand, okay, just thousand. So letter S here, it sound like letter Z here, like, okay, like thousands, thousand, okay, not thousand. And number 2, in those days, so those days, not those days, okay, those days, paper was made from strips of the papyrus plant. And number 3, all envelopes are good for this what? For the reason, not reason. You see like two syllables here like R-E-A, you read re, and S-O-N, when you read it as only a single syllable, you read sun, right? Not reason, we read reason. So letter S here, it sound like letter Z, sound reason, okay? Mostly, when you see a letter S in the second syllable, okay, it sound letter Z. But sometimes letter S it finish in the plural word, okay. Sometimes it sound S itself, and sometimes it sound like letter Z, so differently. So this is maybe another video teacher will explain you when letter S sound S and when letter S sound Z again. But make sure today that you have learned about the letter S in the second syllable, it sound like letter Z, okay. The last one, everyone, the mold is made of what? Made of squares of wire, okay, squares of wire. So let's now move to the last point about the summary. Complete the summary here, everyone. We have like the word cool, the word machine, the word papyrus, the word trapped, the word bark, and the word mix, okay. So can you complete the first one? Egyptians with what? With papyrus plant, okay, and so on. They struck, close foot bark, what? Tree bark, okay, the tree bark. So the number 2, the word bark, and number 3, machine, okay. And number 4, mix, okay, mix them with waters and chemical and then boil them. And number 5, the word cool, okay, let the mixture cool. And the last one, number 6, the word trapped. So this is come to the end of your lesson today, everyone. So please enjoy watching the whole video, and teacher just believe that you will be able to answer the question, and you also comprehend from the listening as well. See you again tomorrow, everyone.